that we get started here. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. All right. Let's have a word of prayer, then we'll get started. Most High Yah, please continue to guide and direct our paths in your word that your name might be glorified. In the name of Messiah, we pray. Amen. Okay. All right. All right. Well, praise the Most High Yah. So let's go right into the word. Let's get right into part 2 of what we were studying. So here in Isaiah chapter 24, it's describing the time of Jacob's trouble. So let's take a look at that. Jeremiah chapter 30. Start us off. Jeremiah chapter 30, because right before the return of Messiah, there's obviously going to be major issues on planet Earth. Okay. And the Bible talks a lot about that. And Isaiah 24, also, of course, being a prophet, is going to mention it as well. So we're dealing with that, and we're dealing with the aftermath of that. Okay, so let's first look at Jeremiah chapter 30, because that's the chapter that brings it up. And people, when I was in the SDA church, they would misuse this verse. They'll misuse it. And the reason is simple. Brothers and sisters, you and I know, in the United States, we come out of Christianity mostly, right? And what do Christians do? They take one verse and they run with it. That's what they do. They take one verse and they run with it. They create denominations, doctrines, write books based on one verse, right? Based on one verse. And so if you read the context of what's being said, most times, 9 times out of 10, it's a completely different meaning. It's not what you thought it was when they were running off with it with one verse. And I like to use the whole idea of the new covenant, right? Messiah said, I will not drink of this wine until I drink it in the kingdom. And then he said, this is the blood of the new covenant. And they done ran with that. When they say new covenant, oh my God, that means now there's no more Old Testament, there's no more law. They done created a whole denominations, whole belief system based on the term new covenant, without having looked at what the definition of new covenant in the Bible is. And so that's an example. So they do the same thing with the time of Jacob's trouble. Oh my goodness, man. They run off with that. But when you read what we've already read, for example, in Isaiah chapter 10, when you read what we've already read and what we'll probably go through today in Ezekiel chapter 39, when you read what we read and what we'll probably go over today in the book of Revelation, you understand this. Listen, the time of Jacob's trouble is deliverance for Yah's people. That's what it is. The time of Jacob's trouble is the time of deliverance for Yah's people. It's trouble because Satan and all the people deceived by him, which is the majority, are going to be fighting against Yah and his people. They're going to be wanting to kill us. They're going to try to, and why they want to do that? Because they're going to be seeing the power slipping from them. All right. So in a desperate attempt to maintain their power, in a desperate attempt to try to overcome the creator, which sounds crazy, but that's what they're trying to do. There's going to be a great time of trouble. It's going to be, again, what we talk about, even with this coronavirus, it's going to be short and intense. As it is, it's going to be short and intense. But at the end, it's deliverance for the remnant. It's deliverance for the remnant. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's go through this in the word, starting with Jeremiah chapter 30. I'm going to read from Jeremiah chapter 30. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read parts of it. First, let's go from verse 1 down to verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 30, from verse 1 down to verse 11. Notice what it says. And again, brothers and sisters, I am reading the King James Bible. To me, this is the end time word of the Most High to his chosen people. He has placed this. First, it came out of the hands of the European for him to give it to the Judah that was in North America, for Judah that was in North American islands, to now turn around and teach. You know, that sounds crazy, but it's no crazier than the revelation of the Messiah that Yah gave to Messiah. Right? No crazier than that. Jeremiah chapter 30 from verses 1 to 11. Notice what it says. Jeremiah 30, 1 to 11. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh saying, or from Yah saying, thus speaketh the Most High Yah of Israel, saying, he's telling this prophet, write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in the book. He's telling Jeremiah, write thee all the words that I've spoken unto thee in the book. I want this as a memorial for the future. See, he's memorializing. For lo, the days come, saith Yah, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yah, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave their fathers, and they shall possess it. This is a promise that is all through the prophets. It's all through the prophets. Okay? And so he's saying, I'm going to give the land that was Israel and Judah that their fathers had back to them. So, brothers and sisters, right here is telling us there's no substitute for Israel. You hear what I'm saying? There's no substitute for Israel. If there was, why would he say, I'm going to give the land that their fathers have to the children? There's no substitute for Israel. Right? So this chapter starts off, the Father Spirit is telling Jeremiah, I want you to make a memorial. I want you to write this in a book. And the days are going to come where I'm going to return Jacob's children back to the land that I gave their fathers. And they're going to possess it. What do you say? Okay. And these are the words that Yah spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yah, we heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces turn into paleness? Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Let's stop here. See, the Adventist church uses this, man, they run off with this. But think about what is being said here. When was Jacob's actual trouble? Y'all remember, like in the Bible, when did Jacob have trouble? When was Jacob's actual trouble, and what was it about? Y'all remember that? In the Bible, what was Jacob's actual trouble? Let's turn back for a second. Let's go back to where actually Jacob's trouble was. That's right. That's when he was exactly. That's when he was renamed. Okay, that's very good. So let's go back there. Let's go back there. Genesis chapter 32. Genesis 32. This is the trouble. Genesis 32. Okay. Let's start at verse 1 and read down to verse 12. Verse 12. Yep, from 1 to 12. Okay. Genesis 32, 1 through 12. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Yah met him. So angels met him when he's on his way, okay, to the trouble. Angels met him on his way to the trouble. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is Yah's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim, okay, Yah's host. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, into the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord, or my master Esau. Thy servant Jacob said thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses and flocks and men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my master that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. And Jacob was greatly afraid. and distress. And he divided the people that was with him and the flocks and herds and the camels into two bands. And he said, if Esau come to one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O Yah of my father Abraham, and Yah of my father Isaac, Yah which said unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast shown unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So all that happened here. First, he had evidence that Yah was with him. Angels met him. Then after that evidence that Yah was with him, he heard some news that made him scared. Esau was coming with 400 men. Okay. Then he comes back and he prays and he supplements, he gives his supplication to Yah, and he's humble, and he recounts the promises and the commands that Yah gave him. You told me to come back to this land. You said you would deal well with me. I'm not worthy of your mercy, but deliver me from my brother. And you promised me you're going to do me good and make my seed as the sand of the sea. He's recounting Yah's promises to him, but at the same time, he's saying, I'm not worthy of your mercy. Okay? Now we go back to Jeremiah chapter 30, because that's what's going on. That's what's going to happen with us. Yah's spirit upon us is going to give us evidence that he's with us. When the plagues are falling on the wicked, and they're not hitting us, we're going to know we've been separated by the Most High Yah. His spirit on the 144,000 is going to be evidence that he's with us. Okay? Evidence. And then trouble. Go back to Jeremiah chapter 30. The time of Jacob's trouble. When people are going to come to kill us. Remember what the Bible says when it says in Revelation 13, whosoever would not worship the image of the beast should what? Go to jail? Should what? Be killed. It's going to come down to that. I know it seems implausible right now, but those of you that follow truth know that this is the truth. It's going to come down to that. Why? Because Satan is going to want to destroy us, because we are the last vestiges of righteousness left on the earth. He wants to rid the earth of that so that he can have total dominion with nobody questioning his authority. And so he wants to destroy y'all's people. And he figures right now, listen, he can buy us off and deceive us right now. That's what's going on right now. That's why majority, you got people raising up from all corners being deceived and bought off. That's what happened. Either people get money or they get deceived, or both. But with the chosen ones, truth becomes more important than anything else. Truth, not Christian denominations, not mosques. Truth, brothers and sisters, becomes the most important thing. Truth becomes what we are living for. Literally. Father's glory. And brothers and sisters, the numbers of us are going to get small, because brothers and sisters, all the fake people out here that are really for themselves. See, all of these type of things, like I said, this coronavirus is just going to reveal people for what they are. Both now, when it gets worse, and after, it's going to reveal people for what they are. And brothers and sisters, as we get closer to the return of Messiah, people, the situation and circumstances that are going to arrive are going to cause people to be revealed for what they are. Whether you love truth, whether you faking the funk, whether you all in or you not, it's going to be revealed. Okay, it's going to be revealed. And the love that people have for truth will be shown, and that is going to be representative of his chosen people. They're going to love truth. They're going to not follow anything but the truth. and they have been convicted. You see, brothers and sisters, we are not followers of the Creator because we have seen his face. We are not followers of the Creator because of any scientific evidence. We are followers of the Creator. And tell me if I'm wrong now. We're followers of the Creator because we've been convicted as to what truth is, and we decided to follow that conviction. Are you following me? Are you hearing that? Are you feeling that? You see what I'm saying? We decided to follow the conviction that we have had all our life. When we start to recognize, this is what happens. You start to realize all your life, Father's been teaching you, guiding you by conviction. Even sometimes you didn't know where you go, what you're doing, but you look back and you say, man, he led me that way. And you understand. And then you become conscious of the truth. And you want more. That's what happened. And you start getting closer to Father, and he started drawing closer. Remember, he said, Messiah said to the woman, Father seeketh such to worship him. See, when you have Father with you, you got all the power in the universe. It's not like about what's in this world in terms of, people with their crew and their money and their guards and their guns and all that. No, no, no. But with the Father, you got angels, powerful angels. Angels that when Father decides to protect you, can't nothing hurt you. See, they met with Jacob on the way. Angels met with him. Why was he so scared then? Let me tell you why. He said it with his own words. I am not worthy. See, brothers and sisters, listen. All of us understand we are not worthy. So he saw the angel. He had the promises. But our Satan is working on him with that guilt. He know he's not worthy. And what happened? He started recounting what was shown to him. Brothers and sisters, listen. This is where we going now. Because this world, like I said, it's going to really be turned upside down. And we have to understand the precious promises given unto us. So here he said, I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel. Jeremiah chapter 30. And Judah says, yeah. See, he's promising that. And so you're going to remember that when it's time. When we start seeing it, we say, yo, you promise you're going to bring us back to the land. You promise you're going to deliver us. Let's read it. Verse 7. I'm going to start at verse 7, Jeremiah 30. I'm going to start at verse 7 and go down to verse 11. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Jacob remembered what he had done wrong. It was brought to his mind. What did you do wrong? You tricked your brother. You lied to your father. You got the blessing by deceit and fraud, and you don't deserve it. That's why it came out of his mouth. He said, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Brothers and sisters, none of us are. We have to understand that. None of us are. It's only because of the Father's righteousness that we even have a right to the tree of life. Notice, for it shall come to pass in that day, this is the day of Jacob's trouble, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves in him. What is that? The fear, brothers and sisters, that Jacob had because of what he did wrong was broken. He could face his brother now because his name was changed to right with the Most High. He could face his brother now. He wasn't scared of nothing now, but he was humbled. He was humbled because he knew he didn't deserve that deliverance. It's the same with us. Father's going to deliver us for his name's sake, literally. Ahaya, Asha Ahaya, Yahweh. He's going to deliver us for his name's sake. Not that we deserve it, only because we decided to follow the conviction of truth that he put on our hearts. And he's going to deliver us for that sake. And he's going to overthrow and destroy Asatan's kingdom of lies and deception. And so Asatan is very confident. He's very confident. He trusts he can deceive anybody. He trusts he can deceive anybody. And most of the time he's right, except when it comes to Father's spirit. When a human being decides to follow the spirit of the Creator. You got you win, and you got to make effort to get out of it, because the spirit of truth is powerful. It's more powerful than the spirit of lies. But most people choose the lies. Why? Because it's easier. It's easier to believe a lie. Really, brothers and sisters, that's the truth about it. It's easier to believe a lie. Notice. So he said, it shall come to pass, I will break his yoke. That is the yoke of Asatan. That is the yoke of guilt. That is the yoke of sin. I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds. That means he's going to free you from your chains. See, the chains that we had on our neck, we may not have them. Some of our brothers still have. He's going to break them. He's going to break us from the chains of our mind permanently. And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they shall serve Yah, their Most High, and David, their King, who I will raise up unto them. You can't get more plainer than that. He said, I'm raising David back. You think David gone forever? Divinity will always bring back righteousness. Always. David is Yah's servant. He's going to come back. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yah. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Verse 11, for I am with thee, saith Yah, to save thee, though I will make a full end. See, a full end. That's what we get ready to read about in chapter 24 of Isaiah. I will make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet I will not make a full end of thee. But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. That's what we have. See, brothers and sisters, it's like, you raised on this earth. We're not raised in the kingdom of heaven. We raised on this earth. Born and raised, all of us. So there's going to be parts of this world that we're going to be clinging to without even thinking twice about it. I mean, it's just human nature. But at that time, one of the things that it's designed to do is break us from all the things that this earth that ties us to this earth. All the things that ties us to this wicked kingdom. Break. That's why when they talk about we cannot buy or sell, that's actually a blessing. You say, brother, you crazy. What you mean a blessing? Yeah, a blessing. Because now you got to trust in your Creator to provide for you manna and water out of rock. He's going to keep your foot from swelling, keep your clothes from stinking and rotting on you. He's going to protect you. He's going to keep you. Got trust in him now. Now you are no longer dependent on Babylon for anything. You cannot buy or sell. He's trying to slowly, and I praise y'all because he is slowly, patiently developing us in this regard. He is slowly, patiently developing us. Let's skip down Jeremiah chapter 30. Watch this from verse 18 down to verse 24. From verse 18 down to verse 24. Jeremiah chapter 30. Notice what it said. Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents and have mercy on his dwelling places. And the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them. They shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. See, the powers that are in power now, they fill in their cup. They got to. It's prophesied. They got to fill their cup. Our Satan has got to be allowed to develop his power to the utmost on this planet. That makes the deliverance greater and makes the line of demarcation very plain between those that love truth and those that don't. Very plain. See, you're living in a time when this is coming to pass. There are people that died before this, and people going to die again that may not going to see all the things that we get ready to see. But there's going to be a distinct line of demarcation between those that love truth and those that don't. Look, I will punish all that oppress them, and their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them. And I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. Who is this that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith Yah? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your most high. Behold, the whirlwind of Yah goeth forth with fury and continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. That's what Jacob's trouble ended with. The fierce anger of Yah shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days, you shall consider it. Hey, that's where we live. Whenever the Bible talks about the latter days, that's where you and I live. That's where we are right now. Latter days. That's us. That's us. That's where you live and I live. Latter days. This is the last of the latter days. That's where we at, brothers and sisters. See, history is what has happened in the past. That's what history is. History is what has happened in the past. And history always repeats itself, but there's going to come a situation now where it's the end of this earth's history. And it's going to be a new beginning of a history of righteousness. And before that happens, all the powers of deception are going to combine to try to kill off righteousness. But you can't kill divinity. You can't kill righteousness. You can't do it. The wicked are going to try, though. They're not giving, Satan ain't giving an inch without a fight. But that fool getting ready to be placed in the pit. He getting ready to get placed in the pit. Because brothers and sisters, really does come down to a very simple concept. A spirit of righteousness. It comes down to that. Simple, eh? Father's spirit. Who receives it and who doesn't? It's available to anyone that seeks truth. He doesn't discriminate based on race, creed, color. It's available to every human being who wants it. You know what? We could talk a whole bunch of game. No, we could talk a whole bunch of game, but it comes down to who really wants it. Because you cannot have Father's spirit of truth and have the goal of this world. You can't. You got to choose. I don't care what these, what they call them, prosperity preachers are teaching. All these women out here trying to teach you. You got to choose. There's a line of demarcation. Either you in this thing or you not. And if you in this word, you're not going to get the world. You're not going to get the glory of this world. You're not. What my boy say, I like to say what my boy Gil Scott Heron, the revolution will not be televised. You're not going to see it on Fox or MSNBC or CBS. The revolution will not be televised. He getting ready to turn all them television stations upside down. All that's going away. Isaiah chapter 24. Isaiah chapter 24. Let's go back where we was. Isaiah chapter 24. I'm going to start at verse 1 again and read down to verse 7. Isaiah 24, 1 through 7. Notice what it says. Behold, Yah maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yah has spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people That's the proud of the earth through language. The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Why is it defiled? Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, and the vine languisheth. All the merry-hearted do sigh. Yes, we're coming to this, brothers and sisters. See, again, I think we could accurately say right now, based on this coronavirus, these things are you kind of see it, right? People are not happy, correct? People are worried. Isn't that correct? People are worried and not happy. That's what we're dealing with right now. Now, this is not the time of trouble. Like I said, this is just rehearsal. This is just rehearsal right here. But you're seeing a little bit of the situation. Politicians and people in power trying to make more money. Corporations trying to make more money off you and me. That's what they're doing. Listen, when you hear about them getting $1 trillion, where do you think that's coming from? I mean, they printed out of thin air, but they tax you and me for that money. So when you hear about bailouts, what they saying? We want all you poor people to pay us for the privilege of serving us. That's what it comes down to. This is Asatan's kingdom. That's how that works. Ain't no righteousness here. Ain't no righteousness here. That's why people say, oh, that's not fair. Welcome to Asatan's kingdom. There's no such thing as fairness in Asatan's kingdom. The Bible uses sometimes the word judgment to describe fairness. You see, judgment to describe fairness. Okay. Yah's kingdom is a kingdom of judgment. It's a kingdom of fairness. You see, you are safe in a kingdom where there's only one true God and everybody's worshiping him willingly. Nobody's bringing you a false God or a lie. Nobody's dishonoring the only true God. You have a day that you rest, a 24-hour period set aside for you to just praise him and glorify him and rejoice in his righteousness. Then everybody is honor the parents, everybody respecting and honoring each other. There's no disrespect. Nobody's coveting what you got, and you ain't coveting what nobody else got. Nobody's stealing anything from anybody, nor desires to. Nobody wants to hurt anybody else. Everybody wants to help everybody else. See, when you're in a kingdom that's all that exists, you're safe. You ain't got to worry about it. You can lay down in the street, in the woods. Nobody gonna hurt you. You can walk up and get something to eat. Nobody's gonna stop you. They're gonna say, can you pay for that? Nobody's gonna be in debt. You're safe in that kingdom. You know, this week, I heard another thing. Somebody's governor of California. Governor of California shut the whole state down. He said basically he told all his inhabitants of his state, 40 million people, you got to stay home. The only people that can come out are essential medical personnel and people that work in supermarkets. You say supermarket, yeah, because everybody want the food, right? So supermarkets and people that serve food still come out, but the people that do medical stuff and police, they can still come out. But most everybody else, 40 million people, locked down. And what did he say? You know what he said? He said, when one of us has the virus, all of us are at risk. That's what he said. He's right. You know what he said? He said, if one of us has the virus, all of us are at risk. That's right. Governor of Illinois did the same thing. Governor of New York did the same thing. Governor, you're going to hear more of that? It's going to be more than that. This is just the beginning. Governor of Connecticut did the same thing. They're going to do it in Texas next. It's going to be all this. You're going to see it. Okay. But the point is, they said, if one of us got the virus, all of us are at risk. That's sin. In the kingdom of righteousness, if one sinner is allowed in there, one unrepentant sinner, the whole place is at risk. Whereas if you got no sin there, everybody is safe. And Yah means to destroy sin. What is sin? Transgression against his law. Why is that important? Because his law is righteousness. All thy commandments are righteousness. That's what the Bible says. My tongue shall speak of thy words, Psalm 119 say, for all thy commandments are righteousness. Yah is described as righteous, which means, when you think about it, his law and his character are one. He's a righteous character, and his law represents his righteous character. And his law, the Bible says, is the truth. So his character is a character of righteousness and truth. And Messiah is a representation of the Father. He represents the Father to us, which means he represents the Father's righteousness and truth. And he means that the earth is going to be in harmony. See, things are out of balance right now. Listen, man. Yesterday, where I live right here in the DC area, yesterday was 80 degrees. Got up this morning, man. It was cold. It was like 30 something. Just like that, it flipped. Everything that nature's out of balance, man. The Bible just said it. Why I say? It said why? Because they changed the ordinance, broken everlasting covenant. Everything's out of balance. Everything is upside down. There is no fairness and there is no righteousness on this planet. And if you see that, this is what happened, brothers and sisters. My man Malcolm X, he expected righteousness to come out. That's why he was going to take the USA government to the United Nations, because he expected righteousness. What happened? He was murdered because ain't no righteousness. Martin Luther King woke up. See, Martin Luther King was being paid by the Caucasian people. You didn't know that. Behind the scenes, they were paying all the civil rights activists. Look, we went and marched. Our people went and marched. I was there. I didn't march now, but I was living in a segregated society. I remember not being able to eat in a restaurant. I'm old enough to remember that. I remember when there was riots between white people and black people, and I lived in New York. When the Caucasians didn't want us going to their schools, and we didn't, brother, we didn't want to go to their schools, but it was forced upon all of us. So we went through all that so we can pee in the same bathroom as them. That's what we did, so that we can sit at the same restaurant and spend our money there. That's what it come down to, because we ain't gained nothing. They still stopping us from voting. They still doing it. They still got brothers with chains around their neck and around their ankles. Come on now. It was a game. It was a farce. We ain't get free. We ain't get free. All they did was have a whole bunch of fake leaders that they could put in their place so they could control us. Why do you think Barack Obama was brought forth? He was not brought forth for nothing but to calm a revolution, because it was about to go be on. It was about to be on. Brought forth Barack Obama. Everybody. See, before that, we was like this. And then all of a sudden, they brought Barack Obama, and we went like this. That's what happened. Put us to sleep. Then you had the Caucasian people getting tired of this. And they was about to have a revolution. And they brought forth the orange president. Told them, yes, man. That's what he was saying. White supremacy's back. Don't worry about all these Mexicans. We're going to take care of them. And everybody was with it. But now, nobody's happy. It's all a farce. Martin Luther King woke up. He woke up to the game. And he started understanding this is about oppression. Period, on a government level. And he decided to have a poor people's march. Him and Malcolm X were about to join force, but Malcolm X was murdered. They were making plans. Malcolm X had went down to Alabama, and they were speaking in the church. They were all about to join forces. Malcolm X, Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin Luther King, they were coming together. Murdered. Because this earth is not fair. Because there's no righteousness here. Don't expect it and you won't be disappointed. Righteousness comes from the Father. Truth comes from the Father. Ain't no fairness here. It is what it is, man. But very soon, according to this word, he about to flip that script. About to flip it. All he's doing right now is preparing you and me for that time, because it's getting ready to get hectic. It's hectic now, but like I said, this is just rehearsal. It's hectic now, right? I mean, right? You don't know nobody that's happy with this situation on a worldwide basis. People are dying, man. Every day, hundreds of people dying from this thing. Every day. Nobody can go out their house. Nobody's happy. And this is the dress rehearsal. It's going to get like this again, but it's going to be much worse on a higher level of intensity. I know that's hard to believe, but that's what's coming. Word tells us right here. We're reading it right here. Isaiah 24, Jeremiah 30. Go ahead, read Ezekiel chapter 39. Go ahead, read Revelation chapter 20. Go ahead. This is showing you the same thing. All those scriptures I just mentioned, there's probably, man, I can't, there's probably less than 100 people on the planet that put them together. It's not that I'm a genius. It's that nobody cares. Nobody cares. Except God's chosen people. The ones that love truth. Who he's going to deliver. We just read about it. Now, not everybody's going to believe what we just read in Jeremiah chapter 30. Now, everybody's going to believe that. Most people are not going to believe that. Right? I mean, right? Most people don't believe that. Yet, we who believe this word to be Yah's chosen word, we believe that. And we're going to look foolish. No, we are. Believing words on a page in a book. That's what they said. It's all good, though. This is a spiritual book. This is an eternal word from an eternal spirit. I believe that. And I'm going to stick with it. As long as Yah gives me grace, I'm going to stick with it. I'm not leaving this book. I mean, listen, I'm just like y'all. I act a fool sometimes. I ain't going to front. But he'll humble me and bring me back. All of us do that. We start to go off the path a little bit. But the Most High says to us, you'll hear a word behind you saying, no, this is the way, walk ye in it. In other words, when you go off the path to left and right, he's going to come back to you and say, because I love you, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to spank you a little bit. I got to put the switch on you for a second. Get back on the path, son. Daughter, get back on. And he'll lead you. And you say, you sure this is a path? Nobody else is walking this path. No, that's not true. Moses walked this path. Isaiah walked this path. Jeremiah walked this path. Samuel walked this path. Jacob walked this path. And more importantly, Messiah walked this path. No, it's not a lot of people. Not a majority. See, when a path is walked in the woods by a majority of people, it becomes smooth. You ever notice that? You ever go through the woods? You ever have a shortcut? When I was a kid, we had shortcuts. We used to cut through the woods to get to certain places when I was on Long Island. And so many people would use it that the ground, first the grass stopped growing because everybody was walking it, and the ground started to become smooth because so many people were using that path. Where if you were going off the so-called beaten path, it was always rough because not that many people walked. Right, so you had to kind of look and see a little trail through there. Sometimes you run into thorn bushes, and it was a pain. Right, you run into thorn bushes, and you got to be careful because not many people walk through the path. Right, that's the way it is. We are walking a path that not many people walk through. It's not going to be smooth, but it is the right path. Why do we know that? Because the Father's Spirit convicts us. It's the right path, and we're trusting that Spirit. We're trusting His word. Isaiah chapter 24, from verse 8 down to verse 16. Isaiah 24, from verse 8 down to verse 16. The mirth of tabrets ceases. The noise of them that rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp ceases. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Confusion is Babylon. That's confusion. Babel, it comes from the root Babel, which means confusion. Remember, because he confounded their language. Right? So Babylon is confusion. That's why you could have a sodomite talking about he's a Christian. That's why you can have that. You can have LGBTQ people trying to advocate for pedophilia. That's the truth. They're trying to add that to it. Like it's a thing, man. That's why you can have that, because this is Babylon. It's confusion. That's why you can have a man they call Holy Father with all white on while he behind the scenes dealing drugs and killing people. It's Babylon. It's confusion. And he says here, the city of confusion, Babylon, is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the street. All joy is darkened. The myrrh of the land is gone, and the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When it says, when thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice. They shall sing for the majesty of Yahweh. Yahweh. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore, glorify ye Yah in the fires, even the name of Yah, the Most High of Israel, the Most High of Israel. Notice he mentions that. In the isles of the sea, from the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. Praise Yah. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Yeah, brothers and sisters. The Bible tells us this, 2 Timothy, in the latter days, perilous times shall come. Y'all remember reading that? I know you did, especially if you're a Christian. Latter days, perilous times shall come. 2 Timothy chapter 4, right? And in that same chapter, let's look at it real quick. In that same chapter, 2 Timothy chapter 4, I want to show you something. Notice what it says here. I want to show you something. 2 Timothy chapter 4. Hold on, let me get my stuff together here. It's chapter 3. I'm sorry. It's 2 Timothy chapter 3. So it says in the last days, perilous times shall come. But I want to show you verse 13. See, you can read it when you get a chance. Read the whole chapter, of course. It's a letter. Now, I don't want to just take one verse like the Christians do and run off at the mouth with it, but I want to show you something here. Notice what it said, verse 13. Actually, let's read verse 12 and 13. Yeah, and 14. Verse 12, actually from verse 12 to 15. I just can't do what the Christians do. I got to read more than one verse, man. I can't do it that way. But so really it's verse 13 I'm looking at, but I want to read from verse 12 to verse 15. Notice what it says. Yea, and all that will live godly in Messiah, Yahweh shall suffer persecution. That's the truth. It ain't the white Jesus of the Christians. This is the Hebrew Messiah. You're going to have a problem when you're following him. But evil men, watch, evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. We'll come back to that in a minute. But continue thou, that is you and me, in the thing which thou hast learned, Father's Spirit, and been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned. And from a child, that is a spiritual child, thou hast known the Holy Scripture, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through the faith that's in Messiah, Yahushua. Now look, when it says evil men and seducers wax worse and worse, as we get closer to the return of Messiah, the power of deception is increasing. That's what's going on now. As we get closer to the return of Messiah, the power of deception is increasing on all levels. That's why you have more television stations, more the power of deception. These politicians, I don't care if they Democrat or Republican, they lying to you. All these preachers lying to you. It's going on and it's going to get worse, brothers. But praise Yah. As the power of deception increases, among those of us that want truth, the grace of the Father will increase also upon us. He doesn't just leave us to be deceived. He will meet deception with his spirit for those of us that are in his spirit. Okay? You follow? So he's not just, so he said the treacherous deal treacherously. And that's what Daniel also says the same thing. The wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. We have nothing to fear except we don't love truth anymore. When you don't feel conviction in your heart anymore, when you don't feel the power of conviction tugging at you to walk in the way of truth and light, that's when you have a problem. And what scares me honestly is I'm actually seeing people where that's the case. They don't feel any conviction anymore. They don't care anymore. They're only out for self and deception, and they're just getting prouder and more prouder as time goes on. You seeing it? That's scary because those people are lost, and many of them, most of them, are religious. Don't let it because somebody religious think that means anything. Asatan wants worship. This whole game is about worship. It's religious. Isaiah chapter 24. Let's go back. Let's go from verse 17. Isaiah 24 from verse 17 down to verse 20. Isaiah chapter 24 from verse 17 down to verse 20. Notice what it says. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. That's all the inhabitants of the earth. That's the population of planet Earth. Okay. It shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of fear shall fall into the pit. Pit is a grave. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Yes, brothers and sisters, sin and deception are increasing, and it's going to be the destruction of this planet. And listen, I'm fairly aware. I'm not talking to everybody. Remember, we talked about this in the last session, the last teaching. This stuff is not for everybody. This is for Yah's servants. To show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Sin on this earth is causing a curse. You think global warming is just like a thing, like it just can just be controlled? No, it's out of control, brothers and sisters. It's going to get worse. It's out of control. People are really, it does sound silly, doesn't it? That people are willing to let the earth be destroyed, willing to let millions of people die, that they can just have a few dollars more. That they could just get a bigger house, more cars, private jets. They're willing to let everything destroy it for a quick. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. See, when Asatan let that doctrine of man could be God loose, he didn't understand. I don't think he didn't understand how far it's gone. It's going out of control. And so he's going to be using all of these events to try to reel it in. What are we trying to do? And he's going to do it. I mean, they're going to be united. Evil people can't even agree with each other. That's why the Bible talks about iron and clay in the feet of the statue of Daniel too, because they can't even agree with each other. But when it comes to fighting righteousness, there'll be a 100% accord. See, even if they hate each other, they'll come together to fight righteousness. That's what that's. And y'all have seen that. You've seen people that can't stand each other, but when there's one thing to fight against, they'll unite in doing that. Okay, that's how it is. Let's continue. I'm gonna start again at verse 20. Go from verse 20. Are we close to this? Yeah, we close. I'm gonna go from verse 20 to verse 23. This and watch this. From verse 20 to verse 23. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. The transgression there shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yah shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high. That's the spiritual wickedness in high places. And the kings of the earth shall be upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners. Watch this. What do you think this says? We'll go watch this. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit. Remember, well, in Revelation, it say Satan is going to be cast into a pit. Here's look. It said, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison. See, isn't that Revelation chapter 20? And after many days shall they be visited. That's the second resurrection. See, so he's talking about the first resurrection here. That's why Asatan is cast into a pit like a grave, and he's locked up in there. Can't come out the grave for 1,000 years. Okay. And after many days, and the Bible tells us that's 1,000 years, they be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when Yahweh of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem before his ancients, that's his chosen people from way back, gloriously. When it says confounded and ashamed, that's when the Bible talks about, let me show you in Revelation chapter 21. When we talk about shame, it's not talking about like it don't exist, but what it talks about is Revelation chapter 21. I'm going to read from verse 22 down to verse 27, Revelation 21, 22 to 27. And I saw no temple therein, for the Yahweh Al Shaddai, that is Lord God Almighty, that is Yah Al Shaddai, and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun. This is what it's talking about being ashamed. The city had no need of the sun. That doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of Yah did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. You see? So the glory of the Father is such that it outshines the sun. Well, that makes sense because he made the sun, right? And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it, and the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it, and there shall in no wise enter into anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. See? So notice they mentioned the nations. That's the Gentiles. That's the saved Gentile. That's them that have come to this truth through the Israelite nation, and they are counted as part of the kingdom. Praise Yah. Counted as part of the kingdom. See? These are not the ones that have been captured and become slaves. These are people that came in the truth when it wasn't popular. These are y'all that are now coming into this truth. Y'all from among the Gentiles when it's not popular. You're going to be, what did he say? Nations walk in the light of it. Kings. Praise Yah. He's going to bless y'all for that. Okay, and why does he mention Gentiles here? Well, because we know it's an Israelite kingdom. He already told us the 12 tribes of the 12 of the children of Israel are on the gates of the city. He's letting you know it's an Israelite kingdom, right? But he's telling you included in that Israelite kingdom are redeemed Gentiles, people that come to this truth when it's not popular. See, again, who loves truth? That's what it comes down to. If you love truth, this is your kingdom right here. If you don't, it's not. Simple as that. It says Gog and Magog gonna fight the city because again the majority is gonna be lost. And right now you got Gog and Magog running planet Earth. The sons of Yafet run these things. What do you think? What you think? The government run by black people? Huh? Stop fooling yourself, man. Come on now. Caucasian males run this thing. Caucasian males run this thing. Who the Pope? Caucasian male. That's where Christianity came from. That's Gog and Magog right there. Again, you ain't noticed no news coming out of Africa. I really don't know. I gotta find out. Is Africa affected by this virus? I don't know. How we don't know? Because they focused on what's going on with the Caucasian males. See? That's the way it is. But those among y'all, and this is the thing, we always talk about this. I'm gonna bring it up again. The Caucasians that are going to be saved, the Chinese that are going to be saved, all the people that are going to be saved that are not bloodline Israelites, mostly they're poor people. People that have been spit and chewed up in this system. They're going to understand that this is not right. They're going to know. And that's who you got coming to this truth. You don't see no upper middle class people and rich people coming to this truth. Poor people come to this truth. Remember who came? Who was it that ran with David when David was running from Saul? People that were in debt, people that were poor, people that were outcast. That's who his original 400 men were. Then David was running from Saul. Look it up. It said people that were in debt, people that were downtrodden. Those are the ones came. That's what you're going to see, even now. You're not going to see no rich people come to this thing. They're too proud. They got too much going on. Their hope is in man. They're going to be disappointed because man will disappoint you every time. He cannot be a God. Cannot be a God. I don't care how many statues they make. How many statues they create all over. No, man can't be God. Them statues going to be crumbled like the rest of this Babylonian confusion. Only righteousness will live forever. And we ain't got to make a statue of our God. We're going to see his face. We don't need pictures of Messiah. We're going to see him. And he's never going to die. Ain't no memorial necessary of statue of him because he's going to live forever. Praise Yah. That was Isaiah chapter 24. Ooh, chapter 25 is powerful too. Chapter 26 too, I'm just telling you. Praise Yah for his word, right? Praise him. Praise him for his word. Let's have a word of prayer.